Never before in the history of humankind have people come together and self-consciously hyphenated the world's religions. We link the religions into a greater field of human wisdom, or let's say human wisdom seeking and human meaning making. And yet, despite the self-conscious effort, we're not all that cognizant of what it is we're doing. We are not respecting the world's religions. Now, I know we heard yesterday, and this is why I love getting to talk today, because this is sort of the flip side of some of what we heard. You know, if we do, like my fellow tribesman Phil on Whoopi's side, Goldberg, was saying, that, you know, religion is, you know, what people do, well then, there's no such thing as a religion, there's just what people do. You know, it's just, because the religions cannot force all of their members to do what the official religion says they ought to do. But I want to look at religion from its more institutional perspective, not as, you know, Catholicism actually stands for something, regardless of the fact that Catholics do whatever they do. You know, you can't just say, oh, well, then Catholicism uses birth control. No, Catholicism actually opposes birth control. Catholics use birth control. And there's a real difference there. Judaism says you're not allowed to eat pork. Phil, what did you have for breakfast? I don't know, where is it? But Jews eat pork, right? Especially on Christmas when they go to Chinese restaurants. So when we look at religions as they are in and of themselves, we're doing something very radical to them. And we don't seem to be taking notice of it. So I want to look at this. Boy, I apologize for my condition here.
Do you need water?
I have water. What I need is healing. So let me start with this question. Is interfaith a religion? So some of you are interfaith ministers. When you say, and I heard someone say this earlier today, they said, oh, I'm an interfaith minister, and when they tell people, they go, what's that, right? So if you happen to be an interfaith minister, and we have got, you know, several great, here comes my healing, watch. What have you got? Thank you. Okay, so we have another chant. Exactly. Ricola. Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about my little question. Now I got to keep this out of my way. Thank you. So when you say you're an interfaith minister, do you say that the same way a Catholic priest says, I'm a Catholic priest? Or my friend who's a Baptist minister says, he's a Baptist minister. In other words, is interfaith a religion? Are you representing something to which people can belong, or, and I don't have an answer here, or are you representing an activity that people engage in? Something that has to do with religion, but it's not a religion in and of itself. That's my first question. To give you a concrete example, here's my standard wedding service, for example. When I do a wedding, whether it's two Jews are getting married, or a Jew and a non-Jew are getting married, or two non-Jews are getting married, or, you know, it doesn't matter to me. If they're paying me, I'll do the wedding. So that's what matters to me. In God, I trust. That's why it's on the money. So when I do a wedding, it's built on a Jewish frame. That's what I was trained to do. But I integrate into that frame readings and practices from all the world's religions. But I do not identify them as such. It's not, I don't go and I say, and now from the Hindu tradition, we will chant. You know, I don't do that. I just do the ceremony. They don't know, they don't care. It's a beautiful ceremony. Everyone thinks it's wonderful. And that's all I care about. That and getting paid. So what am I doing? I'm not doing Judaism, because the rabbis that trained me and ordained me would be outraged. I'm not doing Judaism. I'm not doing Hinduism or Christianity or wherever else I'm taking text from. I'm doing something new. Am I writing, this is the question, am I writing a liturgy for a new religion that integrates all these things? That's this first set of questions. Here's the second. What is the underlying assumption of interfaith? Every philosophy has an underlying assumption. Not something you can prove, something you simply take on faith. So, what assumptions about religion am I making when on Shabbat I read from the Torah and the Gita and the Quran and the Dhammapada and the Tao Te Ching and Analects, Confucius? I mean, I read from a variety of texts. What assumption am I making when I do that? Clearly, these texts are not the same, yet I treat them as equivalent. The religions from which they come see themselves and their texts as unique and perhaps even exclusively holy. The Torah was given by God. Krishna in the Gita, the Song of God, that's God with a lowercase g. All right? There's only one God. Jews have him. He chose us. Sorry. That's Judaism. Jews may say, oh, no, but that's irrelevant to Judaism. Right? So when I'm reading from all these scriptures, what is the assumption I'm making? Am I denying the integrity of these texts and the religions in which they arise by mixing them all up? I'm asserting, implicitly and explicitly, that there's wisdom and folly in every religion, and I can tell the difference. And if you ask me, I'll tell you what it is. I can tell the difference, and I'm only going to read the wise parts. I'm going to leave out all the stuff that's stupid. Now, usually the stuff that I think is stupid is the stuff that actually makes the religion a religion. I think the chosen people idea is pretty stupid. Anthropologically, I understand it. Sociologically, I understand it. The Hopis call themselves the people. The Chinese say they're the middle kingdom, the central kingdom of the universe. Everybody thinks they're God's chosen one in one way or another. But the Jews are the only ones that actually are. So I'm denying all these essential things. Isn't that disrespecting? We put the flags up, but we don't believe that. Not really. So am I creating a new revelation? My most recent book, which is available in the Retreat Center's bookstore, not our bookstore, but in the actual bookstore, or on Amazon, Perennial Wisdom for the Spiritually Independent, is a collection of these wisdom texts that I think are true. But they're only true because I think they're true. Not because the religions themselves say they're true, because I reject all these other texts they also have, and I say, not that. So, if I'm doing this, am I also saying that the religions themselves are, A, false in their basic self-understanding, and maybe even irrelevant to the interfaith work I'm doing? I mean, I don't know. Next set of questions. What's the interfaith vision of the human future, or at least human religiosity? I don't work toward the Jewish end times. I'm not expecting the Messiah to come and the rebuilding of the temple and the reinstitution of animal sacrifice. I mean, as soon as that happens, I'm a Quaker. I don't want anything to do with that. I'm not waiting for the return of Christ. I'm not looking for the 12th Imam. I'm not waiting for Maitreya Buddha. I am not looking for the end of the Kali Yuga. My vision is of a global human community free from religious conditioning, more Krishnamurti than Krishna, of a global spiritually independent humanity that is trained to critically and contemplatively explore all of human wisdom, spiritual and scientific and artistic, in order to make meaning and create purpose in their lives. Now, when I see my interfaith work promoting that vision, that's not the vision of any of the religions that have flags. So am I actually promoting a new faith? What's our mission when we're acting as interfaith pastors or clergy? Now, we say that we're here to serve the needs of people not served by the clergy of the world's religions, and that's true. People are looking for an interfaith marriage in Nashville, they only can come to me. Because I'm the only, if they're Jewish, the rabbis won't do it. So we do minister to a particular group of people that need our help. And it's important work. But when we focus on that, we're avoiding the bigger issue. It's safe work. Because if we focus on the pastoral needs of people, we never have to think of the larger philosophical picture that, in which we are doing this work. But my job is to think about the larger picture. And I think that's also part of what the Big I Conference is about. So I want to take a look at this. So let me just suggest 3 things to talk about. But these are now statements. So I'm saying them baldly, because I want you to go, oh, and then that'll make conversation. Just don't bother me with it. I already have my answers. Talk amongst yourselves. So, first, we, the interfaith, integral, interspiritual, trans, whatever else we have here, interspecies, that was not my idea, that was good. I loved intra-tantric, yeah, because anything with tantra sounds sexy to me. So but that's an I one. We thank you for that. So all of us big Iers, I say, are undermining the credibility of the world's religions by saying that no religion is exclusively true. You know, Buddhism and Hinduism don't actually agree on anything. The Buddha's basic point of an Atman, no Atman, really rubs the Hindu who says Atman is Brahman the wrong way. Yes. You can't make them all nice. It doesn't work. So we're saying, no, you can make nice. That undermines the integrity of each faith as it sees itself. Second, we're undermining the ontological claims of the world's religions by saying that people's quest for meaning trumps any religious claim for truth. You can create your own religion. That was Phil's point. We have we have billions of religions on the planet because each person gets to create her or his own religion. I don't know any religion that says that. They all have some kind of form they want you to follow. We're saying, nice, thanks for playing, but we've outgrown that. Well, if we're honest about it, we've outgrown them then. We don't need them anymore. We can take what we've got from them. They're just replicating their stuff. We're going to try to do something new with them. And we don't need them. It's like a doctor who says, okay, first I have to learn how to use leeches before I can learn how to do some of the modern medicine. Now, I know leeching is making a comeback, but it's the only example I can think of off the top of my head. But you know what I'm saying, right? I mean, it makes no sense. The last one, third one. We're undermining the communal structure of the world's religions by inviting people to step out of their religious silos and into a new fusion of religious teachings and practices of their own making. We're offering people an alternative to their faith, and we're, in a way, proselytizing. And if that's true, how do we respond to the charge that we're replacing religious community with spiritual narcissism? Everyone just does her own thing. So just about done. We manage to avoid thinking this way because we mostly operate in postmodern democracies. Places where the breakdown of religious narrative and the communities they support is already well underway. Even where I live in Middle Tennessee, where everyone knows that Jesus is Lord and the King James translation is what God originally dictated, as far as the Bible goes. Everybody knows that. Even there, we have an interfaith group. And the imam, the mosque is involved, and the Hindu temple is involved, and there is no synagogue or anything, but I'm involved, and lots of different churches are involved. Even there's a breakdown of narrative exclusivity. But imagine what would happen if you tried to do this interfaith thing in Iran. Now, there are interfaith people in Iran. I know some of them. I was just in Kyoto with some of them. But we had to go to Kyoto to talk, right? You can't do it in Iran. You can't do it in Saudi Arabia. Because their narratives haven't broken down. There's places in Africa where you can't do it because their narratives have not broken down. We are a postmodern phenomenon, working best in postmodern, I don't know if the word is post-narrative or trans-narrative or whatever we're going to do with that. But in that kind of milieu where we can get away with what we're saying and not be hung. But if we were saying it in other places or other times, we would all be dead. So these are just musings. I'm just putting this stuff out here. I'm not selling answers, but I am inviting conversation. And that's what this is about. And what I'm hoping for is that you'll talk about some of these things amongst yourselves. We have a couple minutes probably to do it here. But then write out your answers, makes it more thoughtful, and post them on the OUNI blog, and we'll see what, we can continue the conversation that way.